G'day there, Saints fans. Jayden here with another edition of our OPPO View, where we sit down, discuss and dissect our opposition for this week's games. Up against the Brisbane Lions, up at the Gabba on Friday night. Tough ask. Although Brisbane haven't been in their 2023 form, they sort of returned to it a little bit last week against the Dogs, which I'll touch on in a second. As well as going up there, sort of wintry night as well as a little bit dewy, can make life a little bit difficult. I'm just going to take my sunglasses off, my glasses off. So they haven't been in the best form this year, but they've still got the list. They've still got A-graders all across the ground. And it only takes, a team like that 1 or 2 weeks to return to form and get a bit of a run on, especially with their home dominance or home ground dominance that they have. So let's have a look. As I said, they did beat the Dogs last week, quite convincingly as well. I thought the midfield really stood up. It was a shared sort of responsibility. It wasn't relying just on one particular player. Dunkley was good. Neil was good. Ashcroft's not far away, who went down with ACL last year. Zorko's, being consistent. And then you go into their forward line. We all know how good Charlie Cameron is. He's the best small forward in the game. But then you've got Joe Danaher, who's a really strong lead-up target. And can really hurt us, especially with Dougal being out. So it's an interesting watch coming for the selection table and how they go about it. Mind you, this is recorded before the teams are selected, so that's why there's not too much of an idea there. But then Hipwood as well, he kicked 6 last week, so they've got a really good twin tower combination. And then you add in, Cameron and Logan Morris, he's come out of nowhere. He's been, good for a couple of goals a game the last couple of weeks. So really even sort of distribution from a, scoring point of view. And then down back, Harris Andrews, the best defender in the league, albeit maybe second behind Sam Taylor, but you put them in the same, categories. And then they've got some really good runners off the halfback as well. Connor McKenna is sort of gone back to his, really good form. And Oscar McInerney, I think, is an underrated ruckman. I think he's a really good tap ruckman, really good around the ground. They trust him with the ball in hand. They don't, they're happy for him to try and kick a 30, 35-metre kick, lace out. And I reckon maybe 5-6 times out of 10, he's pretty good at it as well. So stat-wise, there's not too much difference, really. And I say this all the time, like our stats actually match up against most teams. Disposals, we're roughly the same. Inside 50s, the Lions do average a little bit more. They get more bang for their buck as well. They're a higher scoring team. So defense is going to have to be absolutely on point, especially with the loss of Dukes. Comes down to Wilkie, Battle, and possibly, an Ari coming in to make his debut as well. So that's a concern there. And then clearances as well. I thought we returned to a bit of form last week. Probably one of the better midfield games we've had this year. Clearance-wise, we were good. Centre clearances, I think we actually won by a couple. And that's the start of it. If you win the centre clearance and get the ball forward, you're going to get more entries, you're going to get more opportunities, and less defensive structure from the opposition. So that's the key. Lions do beat us in clearances by about 4.5 a game. So that is something that we do need to keep an eye on, as it's obvious that Lockie Neal will have a massive tagging role, or be tagged, by Marcus Windhager. He's gone to Miller, shut him down. He went to Harley Reid in the second half against West Coast, shut him down. I think if he can continue that form, then he's going to start getting noticed, and teams are going to start hating him for it, which I think we need. We haven't had someone like that for quite some time, where, a little bit of a tip rat, sort of, Milne, but he was damaging at the scoreboard. But if you can have an opposition player, I think the last time we had a proper tagger was Clint Jones, and that's going back yonks. If we can have someone that can, bring it down and really stop their run, especially through the middle of the guts, then 100% we're onto something there. Tackles, pretty much even. I thought the last couple of weeks our tackles have been back to scratch. So as I said, stat-wise, we're pretty much in the same bracket as the Lions, albeit probably the scoring one being the massive differential there. Turnovers are going to be key. Early start's going to be a key as well. We need to get on the board early to really shut down that crowd and really minimise their impact as much as possible. It's Friday night under the lights. It's a really massive game, probably the last primetime game we're going to have for the year. I don't even think we get a Saturday night as well. So really important that we get on top early and really start to hit the scoreboard. Key matchups, I already mentioned it. Windhagen to Neil. I can't wait for this. I think he's done a job at Neil before. I think it might have been last year where we lost by a couple of goals. He shut him down pretty well for the majority of the game. And given his form over the recent weeks, I think Lachie Neale would have looked at the footage from the Gold Coast game, with Tuke Miller and really not had a bit of a worry, but just, okay, this is how I'm going to be, matched up with on the weekend. So massive game for Windy. Up forward, King, I think he's getting there. He's really sort of trying to get there. This is the game that I'd love to see him just take by the scruff of the neck and just really win the game for us up in Brisbane. Look for Harris Andrews to go to him straight away. If not, Harris Andrews might actually go to possibly Cooper Sharman if he comes in for a Tim Membry. Just thinking out aloud now. And sort of use that as a third intercept and then let Jack Payne take King one-on-one. Depends how Chris Fagan wants to do it, but ideally Harris Andrews will be around King majority of the game. Down back, Jimmy Webster. I've said it all year. He's absolutely key to our back six in terms of shutting down the small forwards. He usually struggles against like a Luke Bruce. Charlie Cameron's not too dissimilar. So I'm really looking for him to have a big game against Charlie Cameron. Minimise his impact. He's a crowd instigator. Really gets the crowd pumping and rocking on a Friday night especially. Shut him down and minimise his impact. Let him only score a goal if that. He's been a bit quiet lately, so he'll be looking to have a big game. So it's on Jimmy to shut him down. And then Wilkie and battle up against the Twin Towers. I thought they were absolutely amazing last week, absolutely outstanding. And it's back on them this week to really shut down the Twin Towers of Danaher and Hipwood. So it's a tough ask. Gabba's no easy beat, but if we're going to start the ball rolling, we've got 2 wins on the trot now. It's time to start making those wins turn into something more relevant and really, get people believing again. This is the way to start. So Friday night under the lights of the Gabba. If you're going to be there, give us a shout out. Jake and I will be there, Saints TV. Otherwise, watch it from home and cheer the boys on. And as always, go your mighty Saints.